scared. Scared because they're gonna take my family.
There's this myth that South Texas is very conservative, and that is a myth.
Can you count to 5? Yes. Chiklak-tikwe, tikto, chiklak-may-tik-tik.
Riot police stormed Hong Kong's international airport using pepper spray against anti-government protesters whose demonstrations disrupted flights for a second day. More than 1,000 medical staff staged sit-ins at public hospitals protesting the use of excessive force by police, with some wearing eye patches in solidarity with a protester who was allegedly shot in the eye during a weekend rally. Doctors fighting the spread of Ebola in the Democratic Republic of Congo say 2 people in the city of Goma have been cured. The development comes a day after researchers announced a breakthrough in trials, saying 2 of 4 experimental treatments have already proved effective and will be distributed throughout the country. 4 months after Russian President Vladimir Putin began offering fast-track citizenship to Ukrainians living in areas controlled by pro-Russia separatists, Ukraine's president signed a tit-for-tat decree. It offers to speed up the citizenship process for any foreigners who have fought separatists, and for any Russians who claim they were persecuted for their political beliefs, which may now include the hundreds arrested this weekend at protests in Moscow and St. Petersburg, calling for free and fair elections. Christmas came early for businesses after the Trump administration announced its 10% tariff on many Chinese exports, hitting September 1st, wouldn't apply to some toys, electronics, shoes, and clothing until December 15th. The fees will still affect all apparel from China, the source of 42% of women's clothing and shoes, meaning Americans who identify as women aren't just paying more for healthcare while making 85 cents on the dollar, they're also hit harder by the trade war. The Trump administration took another step in its quest to curb immigration to the U.S., announcing a new rule on Monday that will make it significantly harder for low-income immigrants to get visas or green cards.
Through the public charge rule, President Trump's administration is reinforcing the ideals of self-sufficiency and personal responsibility.
Long-standing immigration law bars anyone who's likely to become a public charge from being admitted to the U.S. But the phrase public charge isn't actually defined in the law. And since the late 1990s, the government has used a very narrow definition of the term. Only people who are likely to end up on welfare or need long-term institutional care counted as public charges. Trump's new rule expands that definition to include the use of programs like Medicaid, Section 8 housing vouchers, and food stamps. Legal immigrants who want to get green cards can now be denied them if the government decides they're likely to end up using these programs. Would-be immigrants who might use these services will now find it harder to get into the U.S. at all. And the government estimates that the rule will scare more than 300,000 people into either dropping out of or not enrolling in public benefit programs. In that sense, the point of the new rule isn't just to raise barriers to future immigrants. Like this weekend's ICE raids in Mississippi, it's designed to send a message to immigrants who are already in the U.S. You are no longer welcome here.
Ahí en esa planta sí, yo estaba trabajando. Y a mí me avisaron que ahí andaba allá afuera. Entonces hay un lugar que nadie llega porque es un lugar que huele muy mal. Es un contenedor donde se acumula toda la sangre que se quita en los pollos. Entonces dentro del contenedor y el piso había un espacio de un pie. Y así pasé todas esas horas de las 7:30 para las 12. Lo primero que hice fue a llamar a mi esposa. Llegué, mi niña estaba totalmente destrozada. Y yo le dije, todo está bien, ya llegué. Fue un milagro de Dios. Fue un milagro de Dios de todo lo que ocurrió, pues. Y desafortunadamente, hay quienes que no lograron hacer lo que yo hice. Y muchos, a través de esa redada, muchas familias fueron separados.
Hermanos, muy buenos días. Bienvenidos a la casa del Señor. Vamos a ponernos en pie en este momento. Vamos a comenzar a adorar al Señor esta mañana. Y quiero invitarles que lo hagamos con todo el corazón. Porque su presencia, venimos a encontrarnos con su presencia en esta hora.
Y les quiero recordar que no estamos solos. Tenemos aquí una lista de algunos hermanos que no están con nosotros. El hermano Leonel Agustín, Gaspar Carmelo, el hermano Pedro, el esposo de Isabela, Epifanio, Katy, Mateo Carmelo. Vamos a orar por ellos. Juan Mendoza,
Antes de las redadas, Forrest era muy tranquilo. Sí. Y incluso se vivía con una confianza tan plena. Si uno salía de la iglesia y se encontraba un retén de la policía y ya uno mostraba una Biblia y ellos decían, vete, no hay problema. O ¿de dónde vienes? De la iglesia. Y eso dio mucha confianza en la gente de Forrest. El porcentaje de la congregación que fue afectada fue un 80%.
el hispano hace lo que le pongan a hacer. Nunca se queja. Nunca se rinde. No abandona el trabajo. Porque no tenemos ese privilegio.
Bueno, decidimos cocinar pollo y acompañarlo con arroz y bebida, todo eso, para que en el momento, como sabíamos que muchos niños quedaron solos, y que tuvieran comida, porque si le damos comida para preparar, ellos no saben cocinar.
Vamos a ir a ayudar a unas personas, dos mujeres que tienen 14 niños. Yo siento muy triste toda la ciudad, sí, muy vacío. ¿Cómo estás? Tienes que ser positiva. Primeramente,
Hola.
Dios, tu esposo más allá.
Sí, gracias.
Sé que es difícil.
Sí, es duro, pero...
Yo lo viví, aunque sea por un momento, pero la verdad es muy duro, te entiendo.
Sí, no por los niños. Ahorita va a venir, ya lo habla.
Sí, está bien. Traemos comida para los niños, para ti, Ingrid, para que coman. ¿Te sientes triste por papi? Sí. ¿Saben? ¿Ya les dijiste?
Sí, pero como que no mucho. Él nomás me
Es que ellos
pregunta
no
que
entienden todavía, pero...
Ayer que sonó el teléfono, él me estaba diciendo que si mi esposo ya iba a llegar.
Sí, me imagino, porque ellos están acostumbrados de ver a papá ver todos los días llegar.
Él llamaba, antes me decía que ya iba a llegar a la casa.
La gente como que ya no tiene vida, como que perdió el sentido de su vida. Sí, porque incluso me han dicho, no puedo dormir, tocan a la puerta y pienso que alguien viene a buscarme. Después de las redadas es otra vida.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Que incluso aún si hablamos del cristianismo, de gente de fe, ha afectado la fe. Han surgido preguntas, ¿dónde estaba Dios? ¿Por qué Dios permitió esto? La economía seguro que sufre. Antes, yo no recuerdo, 8 años, no había un Walmart, un Supercenter. Y ahora sí, y se llena de hispanos. Si esto continúa así, vamos a tener que aprender a vivir con eso. Quizá lo vamos a superar, pero olvidar no, porque el impacto queda ahí.
Todo lo que aconteció dejó pánico, dejó miedo a la familia. Pues, en nuestro caso, nosotros ahora preferimos estar encerrados que estar en la calle, que estar en las compañías. Creo que no hay palabras para describir a cómo nos trata la gente. a cómo nos trata el país o el presidente de acá, pues es una forma muy, muy desagradable totalmente. Mi niña grande dice, yo ya no quiero estar acá, yo quiero ir para Guatemala. Yo quiero ir allá con ustedes. Ella se da cuenta de cómo nos trata a nosotros como inmigrantes. Tienen miedo en la escuela y ella piensa, si yo voy a la escuela y regreso y no los encuentro a ustedes, ¿qué va a hacer de mí?
Congressman Henry Cuellar represented Texas's 28th district for 15 years. He's a Democrat who's pro-gun, anti-abortion, and a supporter of the recent border deal that split Democrats.
I voted for the emergency supplemental. There were some people that said that, well, we didn't want to do that because it gave President Trump a blank check. Without due respect to those individuals, they're wrong.
He also votes with President Trump more than almost any other Democrat. It's an unorthodox record for a Dem in a solidly blue district, but one he's quick to defend.
My job as a congressman, as opposed to some people, is not to go to Washington and make political statements. I want to be productive. I want to make sure that I can produce for my district. You work hard and you're going to create real results for the district. I'm a Democrat, but I'm not going to put party before.
But why are you a Democrat?
Education, healthcare, the philosophy of the Democratic Party is what fits me.
This year, he's up against something that's becoming increasingly normal for moderate Democrats.
How are you doing?
A challenge from the left.
Mi nombre es Jessica Cisneros, estaba hablando con las niñas, les dejé una información con ustedes, estoy corriendo para el Congreso y pues esperamos poder contar con su apoyo.
Jessica Cisneros is a 26-year-old immigration lawyer from Laredo.
¿Sabe quién es Henry Cuellar? Sí. Estamos corriendo en contra de él. De veras pienso que pues ya es tiempo para nueva representación.
She's primarying Cuellar, and just 5 years ago, she was his intern.
I chose Congressman Cuellar's office because I wanted to have a direct impact to the people in my community. But once I got there, I noticed the silence on so many issues.
They called you Congresswoman Jess, right?
Yes, they did. That was a staffer that actually happened one time in front of the congressman. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of like, start in the Texas House of Representatives, like start lower, like don't aim that high.
She's backed by Justice Democrats, which fueled Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's upset over Joe Crowley. Cuellar is their top 2020 target. Texas 28 stretches from San Antonio to the border in Laredo and McAllen. About 80% of the district is Latino. Cisneros' policy positions, Medicare for all, a $15 minimum wage, and a Green New Deal, are a departure from Cuellar's.
Up to this point, every single door that we've talked to has agreed with what this campaign has to offer. Porque queremos que la gente se sienta de que ellos tienen una voz en esta elección, especialmente porque esto es de lo que se trata esta campaña, right? To bring in especially those people that feel left out, that have felt ignored for the past 14 years since Henry Cuellar has been congressman.
Is that where the district is or where you want to see it go?
That is where the district is, and that is where we want to go. I think there's this myth that South Texas is very conservative, and that is a myth that people like Cuellar are benefiting from. He's benefiting from it because, I mean, it's been working for the past 12 years. He hasn't had a primary challenger because, again, there's this myth that, South Texas doesn't want those things, and we enjoy the way things are right now. But if you were to ask a neighbor from, around here, like, are you happy that you are struggling to get by? No, of course not. Are you happy that you don't have access to health care? No, of course not.
What do you say to someone who says, you seem like a great candidate, why use this enthusiasm, this momentum to run against another Democrat when you could be running against a Republican and switching a seat from red to blue?
I was born and raised here, and these are the people that I want to help. And I'm saying that our concerns aren't being addressed by the current representative, that Henry Cuellar isn't representing everyday South Texans.
Cisneros has been called the next Ocasio-Cortez. But Cuellar isn't exactly the next Crowley. AOC took her opponent by surprise and taught establishment Democrats like Cuellar that they need to pay attention. Plus, he has more than $3 million to spend. Cisneros' long shot campaign currently has less than $150,000, but she thinks she's already making an impact.
He recently voted with the Democrats on the $15 livable wage. Henry Cuellar was not doing that before he was primaried. And yesterday he did. And I think that's just an example of us putting the pressure on him and finally making him realize, wow, I need to do something because I'm being primaried.
Cuellar dismisses that claim.
She took credit for the fact that you had voted for that minimum wage hike, the fact that she's in the race.
She, if it rains, I hope she gets credit for that too.
And it's not the only part of her story he refutes.
She tells a story about how she was called Congresswoman Jess while she was interning in the office, and that one day you heard her called. And
before you even finish that is not true. Okay. I mean, that is absolutely not true. And I'm just very surprised that she would make those type of attacks. I'm not going to say anything negative. All I want to do is say, this is my record. And we'll talk about her platform, because she doesn't have a record. Her platform completely is against the district, and we will highlight that.
Whether or not that's true is hard to know. The district is notoriously difficult to poll, so Cisneros has until the March primary to prove him wrong.
Are you taking her challenge seriously?
I got a Republican candidate, and there's other candidates I've run in the past. She's just another candidate that I'm running against.
But this race, you win or lose in the primary.
With all due respect, thank you for emphasizing her, but she's another candidate, and I take every candidate. She's not the first candidate. I've defeated other candidates in the past. We take every candidate seriously.
In his first 2.5 years in office, Donald Trump has struggled to get things done. Many of his plans have been blocked by the courts. He hasn't been able to build his wall or put a citizenship question on the census. But there is one thing Trump has done exceptionally well: remaking the federal judiciary. Since he's taken office, Trump has nominated 191 so-called Article 3 judges, who are appointed for life. 144 of these nominees have been confirmed. That's over 50 more judges than Barack Obama had confirmed at this point in his presidency. That includes 2 to the Supreme Court, 43 to the Circuit Courts of Appeals, 99 to the district courts. But it isn't just how many judges Trump has appointed that matters. It's also who those judges are. Trump's appointees are, it should go without saying, conservative. Trump's 2 Supreme Court nominees, Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh, are alumni of the Federalist Society, the club for conservative jurists. And more than 3/4 of Trump's Circuit Court nominees are current or former Federalist members. Trump's appointees are also overwhelmingly white and male. 37 of his 43 confirmed Circuit Court nominees are white, and there isn't a single African American or Latino judge on the list. The numbers for district court judgeships are similar. 85 of his 99 confirmed nominees are white. Trump's nominations are only slightly more diverse when it comes to gender. Only about 20% of Trump's appointments to the circuit and district courts have been women. The lack of diversity in Trump's picks isn't a surprise, given his overall record on civil rights issues. But the contrast to his recent predecessors is stark. Both of Trump's Supreme Court appointees have been white men. But between 1993 and 2016, 50% of appointees to the court were women, and 17% were minorities. Trump has also appointed fewer women and minorities to the circuit courts and the district courts. In other words, Trump's stocking the judiciary with people who look like him, not like America. And there are still 101 current judicial vacancies left to fill.
this, yeah, it looks like it has the word skin in it, huh? Venethal, is that skin or?
500 indigenous languages were spoken in the U.S. before white settlers showed up. Today, there are just 80, and 80% of those have fewer than 100 speakers left. 20 languages remain in Alaska, and last year, the governor declared a linguistic emergency. Across the state, Alaskans are trying to bring those languages back from the brink of extinction. One crucial step, making a dictionary. Some of the last fluent speakers of Gwich'in are working on theirs.
I 87 tape ni cut the eye.
I cut the eye. Cut time like it.
Honey, I was born speaking Gwich'in. We're developing this curriculum so that the kids will learn to speak Gwich'in.
My name is Paul Williams.
There's very few speakers left now, and we don't want to lose the language, so we have to pass it on to the younger kids.
So just quick announcements. You guys will be doing some more of your word collection work today, but we'll get you guys started on the plan for today.
Anybody under the age of 50, it's not spoken at all. My generation and younger were not really taught it, although we had what was technically called bilingual in school. It wasn't with any actual methodologies for actually producing language speakers. Can you count to 5? Yes. I never got 9 and 10. If you look at communities where the language is mostly lost, you see a lot more social problems, suicides, substance abuse, sexual assault, all those kinds of things. A lot of those things come from being disconnected. They don't have that feeling of belonging. Belonging is an incredibly powerful human emotion.
Amen.
The language situation in the United States, Canada, and Australia is the worst of any place on the planet. There was a policy between 1870 and roughly 1950 of language eradication through these boarding schools where people were not just punished but even beaten or their mouths washed out with soap if they used their indigenous language. And that left a legacy of trauma and shame.
They said we can speak our language. They said, don't speak your language, you know, you are forbidden. In other words, you're going to get spanking, you're going to beat you up. We're going to not give you food. You stay away from that. Wild food, wild fish, you stay away from that. Don't eat that, it's no good. The disease came and killed us, killed all the chiefs. That's when they came and took us to school. We became theirs, you know. They said our native. I didn't like that word, it hurt me. It hurt me real bad.
The elders take their verb list, they go through them and systematically through this computer program and accompany that particular transcription with a little audio recording of the speaker saying it.
So if you say, you're already ready.
He's already ready.
Who wants to say this one?
I will.
Okay, Paul. Good.
And once that's all completed, we can take that information and package it for a dictionary or an app.
There is a big push for native language to have a more prominent role in our daily lives in Alaska. One of the objectives is to produce curriculum content that can be incorporated into the academic system so that our students can connect to their culture and to their language. Some of our elders, for them, English is incredibly limited in describing the world that we inhabit.
Kuke. This is Kuke, and Snowbird is Kuke Ju.
Oh, good. It's easy. Sounds like
It's a crane.
a crane. Ja, 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 like ja.
Everything sounds so right when you're speaking your own language to someone that understands you.
I want them to feel good about learning how to speak Quechan. Now it's the time.
When I see the kids, when they say a few words like Nijitoncha, they have something in them that belongs to them.
The Quechan Nation means a lot to me because by going by the title, our people will know that we are a nation. We have sovereign status. We have a right to live. We have a right to speak our language.